Do you want to create a website, app for iOS and Android at the same time? Today, I'm going to show you how. As for the example, we are going to create a Pokedex app, and let's begin. Alright, for the first part of this video tutorials, we're going to create a Pokemon region list. So this is a region list from Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh until Paldea, the latest one, from the Pokemon API v2 region. So we're gonna get this data and render it to the screen. So to start this project, you can go to the repo in this descriptions below and choose the branch according to the things that we are going to make today. So we have several branch here, and choose the initial projects if you want to start blank from the template. And you can see the generations list here is a region list actually. So you can choose this branch and you can see, you can get these codes that is until here, until this. So until the last ones, we have a lot of branch that you can follow along and start coding with me. So let's start from scratch. Let's get this one out from the screen first. And we start from the beginning. Okay, tab 1. So changing. Okay, so if you see here, there is a layout. This is for to handle the layout of the tab index. You can check this one out. So, all right, let's begin. So from this part of tutorials, we're gonna make a Pokemon region list. So if you check here, there's a tab titles. And you can edit here. Actually, you can put anything, like this is the title. And when you save it, it's gonna be auto reflect on the right side here. Okay. So for the first part, as a front-end developer, is a requirement for you to be able to fetch data from the API and then list it out in the front-end UI. So you for the first thing first, we're gonna use React here, and then we import useState and useEffect to get the region list. So you're gonna make it like set regions and regions from useState. So you use the useState, and we're gonna store the regions here and set the regions from this state. And to make it easy to work on, because this is home, let's change this to home page. Okay, make it as an arrow functions and export it at the bottom. Okay, if you save, you won't see anything because we just set regions. And now we're gonna use the second from React, which is useEffect. We're gonna use effect like this. useEffect, then like this. If you don't have dependency here, it's gonna run only once. So what we want now, we want to fetch the regions. Let's make the functions to fetch regions. To fetch regions, you can use Axios or fetch, but if you use Axios, you have to import it first. Now, when you try to respond and to get the regions here, and then after we get the data from this, and then we're gonna set it in the regions here. So let's see the results. Okay, now you see the fetch regions is not running yet. We have to put it in useEffect. So it's gonna run once. Okay, let's click refresh. Okay, now we get the regions. If you see here in terminal in console log, you get the config, everything from the regions. So we're gonna check the result, data.result. And then when you refresh, you can see here we got the Kanto until Paldea. This is the regions list as an array of, this is an array, there's an object that you can use. So now we already have the data and we already set it up in regions. To check it out, you can check this console log here, regions. So we got the same response and then we put it in the regions here. We can delete this, we don't need this anymore. And you refresh again and see that we already got the regions. It was empty, and then after this function is running, and then we get the regions. So now the data is already here in regions. And the next step, we have to map the data. We can use map, and we can use JavaScript map and map the data. But in React Native, there is better versions than map, which is have a good memory management compared to map if we have a long list. So we're gonna use things called flat lists. So here we're gonna import flat lists. Okay, we can remove this console log, and then from flat lists we can start removing all of this and replace it with region. Flat lists and regions. Okay, but with flat lists we cannot do that. You have to render it. You need a render item. Okay, so we make the functions to render the item first before we can actually get the render data. Okay, let's make the functions to render. We can call it cons render regions item. Okay, and it's accept item, and we can use touchable opacity. Touchable opacity, I can just copy from here, a bit faster. And then text we can have another functions to handle navigations later, and we can make style for this. This is generation item. So touchable opacity we haven't imported yet. Let's add it. And now we can make a style. Usually, before I start something, I always do something like this. For width 1, border color can be any color. For this example, I'm gonna put red. Okay. All right. Now, after we create the render region item, then we try to at least we render the item name. So here we got the item name from Kanto, Johto until Paldea. So we have all these region lists. And now it just looks like text. Now you have basically scroll view from the flat list. And I don't want this. I want to make it like I have a posters. So let's import the posters. If you go to the assets, you can copy these assets. You can go image and regions. So this is all the assets that are already created. I will share the Figma file that I created. So this is all the poster of the game. So we can put it to replace this name of the regions. And then to do that, we just have to import image from React Native, and we can call it like here. We replace this text. We can just put it up here actually for now. Image source and then you can find the source of the Pokemon. But to do that, we need Pokemon regions. So here I already make a component called Pokemon regions. Basically it's just connecting all those regions with the image that we create, that we just copy from this folder. So it's connected this require and assets. Now we can import these Pokemon regions and we put it here. Pokemon regions, and we call it based on the item name. You can put style also here. Later, but it's a requirement for image to have style, so we're gonna call it style styles dot generations image. Okay, I have to close this. Now we can make a functions called generation image. We can make a style called generation image here below this. Okay, we can call it height 300 and border radius is 8. Okay, now we got this generation image and also that. Looks like it's more, it's more extra. Okay, now save. All expected. This we can just, or we have to close this properly. Now we have the, but it doesn't look nice, right? So let's add more. Let's add the max width of the poster. Let's do this. We can add using spread operation like this, and you can put the max width of the poster. For now, we're gonna put it as 200 pixels, 200 point. Press and you can see here it already looks nice because it requires height and width. Okay, now I don't want to have text, so we can just delete the text. And this, because of the error of the TypeScript, we can just ignore it for a while. Let me know if you found a way to remove the source error from the TypeScript check. Now let's make it look nicer. I want it to have columns, so it's gonna be side by side. On flat list, you can just call it num columns, and then you can call the num columns here. Maybe make it 3. It doesn't. Two columns. Now you have 2 columns. To make it looks nicer, I guess we add margins in the generation item. Let's do this. Let's add margins. Margin 3 pixels. So we don't need this color anymore, actually, because now we can add margins. Now we have nice list of Pokedex. Less list of the regions. All right. Now, after we've done this, when you click this, we need to do like navigation. It's gonna be later on the next tutorials. So if you click here, when you unclick, it's gonna show that the name, Kanto, and the URL of the regions. So this is going to handle navigate item is from here's functions, and we console log here. is gonna be for the next part when we gonna list out all the Pokemons. Okay. All right, now to handle the responsiveness, we can add the inner container of the flat list. So if you click W, it's gonna open the web browser. It's going to render this page on the web browser. All right. It's gonna take some time for it to render. Let's wait for a while. And while waiting, we can actually adjust more for this one. So now we're gonna use something called dimensions. All right, so the website compiling has done, so we can see the website running at the same time. So if you go here, we got the mobile view and also the website view. To make it look nicer, let's use width. So width is coming from dimensions, so we can get the width of the device. Now, let's use the width. For the first thing first, we're gonna do this, something like we can make cons, call number of columns. And then we use the width. If width is more than 600, which is actually tab or tablet or iPad width, and then we make it 3. And if it's less than 600, and make it 2 columns. So we can replace these to the number of columns here. Okay. When you save and refresh, I have to do this anymore. And we see here on the desktop is going to have 3 columns instead of 2. Okay. Now let's go back. And we also want to have like an inner container to make it nice on desktop. So just this one, just a container, extra container to prevent it's bigger than the container. All right, so here we can get the content container style and put it on the flat list. So these functions just to make it like with 100% and maximum 700. Okay. And that's it. It's gonna look good on web. And we can add another one, poster width. One more thing. Poster width, some similar logic, and we can change it from here. Okay, now we have maximum width of the poster, which is at 150, and width for the desktop is 200. So it's gonna look nicer both on mobile and also for this one on desktop. See, now you can have a mobile app for Android and iOS, and also desktop app at the same time. So this is the power expo of Expo. It's a very like high performance. It doesn't use canvas like Flutter, and this one is native browser capability. All right, I think that's the end of these videos. If you want to straightforward like to know more about this, you can contact me directly on my website, and also if you want to learn more, you can continue watching the next videos. And for the next videos, we're gonna make a Pokemon list. We're gonna use the API again and get the Pokemon details and show it to the users. And that's it for now, and thank you for watching, and see you again in the next videos.